Is it right to judge a person based on their cultural background? Are stereotypes integrated into society today? Those are the questions we will ask ourselves today on the Beyond the Labels podcast. Hello, my name is Drew, and today we are joined by esteemed political scientist Mike, who holds a PhD from Columbia University. So, Dr. Mike, what is a stereotype?
Okay, so a stereotype is usually a characteristic that's linked with a race or ethnicity. When people hear my last name, people immediately think that I'm an Asian, or specifically a Chinese.
Then, Dr. Mike, what has been your experience with stereotypes?
Oh, it's hard as an Asian. You know, people will set high standards for you because you're simply an Asian and they think that you're smart. For me, that was kind of the case, but this doesn't mean that other Asians are.
As a fellow Asian, I feel the same pressure as you. People set these stereotypes that we should be the best in our class, but leave out everything else. For example, when you think of the NFL, you think of white Americans and African Americans, but nobody recognizes the Asians, like Young Wei-koo, who's one of the best kickers in the league.
Yes. And I feel like this is just one of the many examples of Asians just not being recognized as elected people, but only workaholics who do math all day. They think of people like me. They don't see the other accomplishments by Asians because those are veiled by the stereotypes.
On top of that, I feel that many other cultures also have negative stereotypes. Can you list some off the top of your head?
Okay, so Asians are mostly portrayed as the perfect race, so not much. But other stereotypes are mostly negative. Mexicans are seen as poor and illegal, African Americans are seen as violent, and natives are seen as alcoholics and gamblers. Gamblers who put all their money just to get their kids to school, to eat a dinner, to own a house, stuff like that.
I love the touch you added at the end of the sentence. It reminds me of a book that I've recently read called, I think it was The Absolute True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. Do you know of it?
Yeah. I remember reading as a kid. I still remember my teacher, talked about it. I believe it was, wait. Oh yeah, it's about a Native American kid, and I believe his struggles.
Yes, and I feel like it is the perfect example of a stereotype. The white kids thought of him as a non-intellectual, stereotyping him with other natives. And though this might be true, it's most likely because of a lack of funding for the reservations, which is a whole other topic entirely.
Yes. And I feel like it is the complete opposite of Asians. And as everybody expects them to be the best, but it's such too high of an expectations for Asians who aren't chasing that type of dream. While people are surprised, I'm telling you, very surprised, when Native Americans succeed in just about any way, be it in school or in business.
Can you elaborate on the problem with stereotypical expectations for children and its effects?
Okay. So, when stereotypes are negative, which is mostly the case, you feel guilty of being the stereotype. When stereotypes are positive, on the other hand, you feel guilty of not being the stereotype. This applies to children in school. For example, for Native American children specifically, the loop of poverty makes it really hard for them to excel academically, while the stereotype for Asians puts just way too much pressure on the Asian children.
I've heard that gender roles have been decreasing. For our listeners, a gender role is a stereotype, but for genders instead of cultures. It was at its peak a few centuries ago, but now it has almost become obsolete, which is a good thing. But do you think that stereotypes are the modern interpretation of gender roles, but for cultures?
Kind of, okay. So they both define a specific category set of traits and duties. Okay, for example, back then, as you said, when gender roles were at its peak, men and women had very specific roles defined by society. This is the same for stereotypes. We, specifically the society, define different groups of people with traits. This also connects with racism.
I totally agree with you. The Asian stereotype is now used as a racist mechanism. Whenever some of my Chinese friends entered a classroom a few years ago, I always heard murmurs of everybody about eating cats and dogs. This is a horrendous comment that makes me believe that racism has evolved into harsh stereotypes in some places.
Oh, really? I did not know that Chinese people like me eat these kind of foods. Whoop! Your example is perfect of a negative stereotype of Asians. Also, the term negative stereotypes is basically racism sugar-coated under a mask.
So, negative stereotypes have a detrimental impact on society. But are there any good stereotypes out there that you can identify?
Other than the Asian stereotype, yes. In fact, there are many, but the most obvious are the African Americans. African Americans are seen as very strong and athletic and can often be seen in a sports field like the NFL, as mentioned earlier. I remember some sources saying that more than 70% of the NFL is black, which further shows their ability to play sports well.
So, this brings up the question that we posed at the beginning of the podcast. Is it right to judge a person based on their cultural background?
Okay, so summarize, no. First, stereotypes are just wrong in general, and this is wrong to define somebody based on their skin, race, or ethnicity. People of the same race have many different personalities that many of us don't see. Second, positive stereotypes can be negative in a way. The first reason is my reason before. The second reason is just not right to set expectations based on skin, race, or ethnicity.
What a wonderful conclusion to our podcast. Thank you, Dr. Mike, for taking the time to join us today with your thoughtful, insightful comments.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. See you next time on the Beyond the Labels podcast.
Remember to subscribe.
Have a good day.